Welcome to Radiant Living, Inspiring Humanity to Thrive. I'm Marisa B, and today I'd like to welcome Wendy Blaskovic. Wendy's a certified heart-centered leader. She has over 20 years experience in teaching. She has done event leader. She has been a coordinator, and she is the owner of Unravel Yourself from the Inside Out. Correct?
Correct. You betcha.
Thank you for coming today to speak to the audience, Wendy. Can you tell me a little bit about how you got involved in the healing arts?
That's an excellent question, and just like everything in life, it's tangled up, messy stuff, right? And it all comes from like really my personal experiences, and I've just found that I've always been connected to the inner voice, but for the longest time I ignored it, and that's where the experiences came in. Where from ignoring it, I got into a messy part of my life, like in my early 20s and early to 30s. For that span of time, it was a lot of ignoring ignoring my feelings, ignoring what was happening, ignoring the inner voice, and really focusing on the exterior world, the exterior of how I'm supposed to act, how I should be, the job I should have, how I should look, and really trying to be everything to everyone else instead of for myself. And that's essentially how Unravel Yourself came to be, because I'm very interested and passionate about why we do the things we do and uncovering that. And really, we've got a lot of messy stuff going on. And that's why unraveling it from the inside out is really what makes the outside, our lives, so much better, so much more fulfilling, so much more at ease. So that's where I'm kind of coming from.
Well, I really, as soon as I heard the title of your business, Unravel from the Inside Out, I mean, almost like layers of an onion, because aren't we multifaceted?
Totally.
There's so much.
Absolutely.
Right. People there, especially women. I mean, and of course, men, of course, have the similar, but we're wives, mothers, daughters.
Yeah, we share. Yeah, we wear a lot of hats.
Employees, housekeepers, friends. I mean, there's so many layers, and that title resonated with me because dealing with people that are looking to stop the old programming, the old tapes that run in their head, it really stood out to me. And that's why I thought it was wonderful to have you on today to talk to the audience a little bit about what you're doing. I know you primarily deal with women. In your work.
Yeah, it's very, very natural for me just to gravitate to women, to mothers, because that's what I am and that's who I am right now. And this is really at the place and stage of my life. But ultimately, I mean, I want this for everyone. I think that everyone needs to be relieved of a lot of the stress. And like you said, the programming, all these masks, all these layers, all these things that we use to protect ourselves, and we are not even aware of that. It's just so important. And that is really through my experience and diving into myself. And that's why I'm able to look at others, and right away, I'm sure that you're the same way, that when you look at someone, you automatically know, because of the stuff that you have gone through and what you've unraveled, uncovered, healed off of yourself, and you've gone through it. So there's this empathy, there's this understanding. It's like, you're full of shit, and I know it because I have been it, and I recognize that. But at the same time, I love you for it. This is totally natural, and it's being there for others, knowing that you can do it, and there is another side to it, a better way of being, and that is really through peeling off all of those masks, the masks of the protection. Like I can say for myself, I used a lot of the perfectionism mask. So then everybody will look at me and see me as being perfect, not at faulted, but inside, I mean, I felt like I was just falling apart. I was a complete mess, but I didn't want anybody to see it, because if they did, it would be a sign of weakness. Probably they wouldn't and like trust me or allow me to keep on going and doing the things that I was already doing. So it's like you hold that mask in front of you. Everything's okay. I can handle it. I'm doing well. I can do it all. I'm the martyr, and that is not healthy. There's a balance in it. There's a balance of being capable and able, but also honoring who we are and what we are, not trying to put up a front.
Like
And
I say, listen, everybody has a crappy day, right? Everybody can have
all
a crappy day.
We all do, but it's the power of awareness, the power of just seeing it as it is without judgment, and we judge ourselves more than anyone else could ever.
Well, I mean, I was just talking with another guest about that, and I was doing some research for another talk that I have to do soon, and I was even shocked, even being in this field, I was shocked that 80% of what we repeat in our heads within a 24-hour period is negative. And I was so alarmed at that, because that's just on average, just a standard day for someone. What if people have so much more negative programming from whatever has come with them from before? Then really, where do they stand with that? There's so much to judge themselves against, that they're putting on themselves based on all that they've heard in the background. And I was very alarmed.
Absolutely. And there's, I think, a focus a lot of course, the exterior, what's going on the outside with social media, of course, with the news, TV, magazines at one time. I mean, it's all of that stuff that bombards us, and we are consumers. We consume a lot of that, and we trust in a lot of that. And then we compare ourselves to all of that instead of turning the lens inside of ourselves and really stopping the comparison and realizing how far that we have come, and to celebrate more than to cut ourselves down from what other people are doing. We are not them. We are ourselves. And that is something that is not practiced enough or encouraged enough. My background is being a teacher, a high school teacher. And so for me to say that I really don't value the educational system very much anymore, I mean, for me, that's, going against the grain. But it comes from a place that we're not preparing our youth. We're not instilling the true values of what is going to prepare them for their lives. And it's everything from, of course, the financial pieces, but how to regulate yourself emotionally, how to allow that in a healthy way, how to question what is going on around you instead of following the herd, following everyone else, following your friends, following the system. What really is it that resonates in you, and feeling empowered to do that? That to me is what is lacking. And that is also why becoming a mother later on in life, like I had my daughter at 38, my twin boys at 40, I'm 43 years old right now. And it's just, I just want better for them as much as I want better for myself. So it's a melting pot of stuff.
But do you find that a lot of the young are not being taught maybe the correct tools, the correct coping skills?
Coping strategies, or there's not enough value in that from the educator, from what is like the requirements for graduation, or like the school system itself, even for our parents. I mean, I don't fault anybody. It's just a matter of, this is so important and so valuable. And it would be a breath of fresh air if this was something that was implemented, that was nurtured from kindergarten all the way through life, right? And then that way we're able to regulate ourselves and take responsibility for ourselves, and then really put that lens on what is important, what is valued. It's valued in treating people how you want to be treated. That is missed that simple little golden nugget is not practiced anymore. And it's sad. And we see that in society. We see that outside of our window. And it's if sometimes it feels like this uphill climb or battle because you know and you want to do better, but then there's all this other stuff outside of you that is not on board or doesn't even realize it. So yeah, it's a lot.
And now, so how is your program helping individuals? What specifically are you doing?
Specifically just providing a safe space for women and mothers to share where they are and how are they doing, and provide them with opportunities and tools that are structured to a point, but it allows them to practice just by dipping their toe into it, because sometimes it feels very overwhelming to just to dive in and mentor them through it and help them along the way, because I really feel that one moment at a time, one small step at a time leads to huge changes. It's just that we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be 100% cured or healed or lose 20 pounds tomorrow, because it's such a quick fix society that no, it's just baby steps and nurturing yourself. So that's what I provide for women, and ultimately I want to provide that for everyone.
Well, I think one of the when people deal with feelings of self-worth or self-esteem, one of the key tools is to really understand what's valuable to you as an individual, yes, authentically you. And I think that a lot of us don't sit and think that, right? I mean, even myself, I've studied many years, and yet do I really sit down and hold that thought and say, what's of value to me? And what's of value to me is different than what's of value to my neighbor. And I think that a lot of people don't even know where to start. They don't even know to question that, right? That's why oftentimes a guide, a mentor, a leader, a coach is important, because they really don't even know where to start. And baby steps are important, right? Because you're not going to change in a day. And
no,
sometimes you don't even know that you have to, or that you want to.
Well, that's it. Like, we're not aware a lot of the times of what we're actually doing. We're not aware of what we value. And that kind of stuff is scary. It is scary, because that means that I've got to sit with myself. I've got to sit down and actually listen. I've got to not be, what's the word I want to use? I don't want to be around all this stuff around me, like, friends, family, to-do lists, things that are going to take me away from being with myself. And that is a scary thought, even, and a feeling. It's like, well, what am I going to uncover? And that's where I was at. Like, I didn't want to feel anything. I didn't want to really know anything, even though the inner voice was telling me. I ignored it. And that's when everything gets pushed down and far away, that you don't even know what you want. You don't know what you value. And the baby steps are what are going to bring that forward. And then you're going to gain trust. You're going to gain trust in listening, and know that it's not as bad as what you think it is or how it's going to be. And you're going to find yourself feeling more whole and more yourself, more confident in what it is that you want in your life. And that's where that you start to pave that way forward. And sometimes you veer away from the things that you thought you were doing for the right reasons, and it's just not.
And lots of times, and I'm assuming more so with women than men, there's a lot of fear that if you look for the unraveling, you're being selfish, you're being self-centered, you're not considering other people, you're not considering your significant other, your partner, your spouse, your children, if you have them. I think that a lot of times that that scares a lot of women.
Oh,
So,
for sure, right? Because it feels like, for one, it's going to take a lot of time, to take care of myself, which means it takes time away from my kids and my job, my husband, the house, my family, my aging parents, whoever it is, or whatever it is. And sometimes there's also this thing that it costs a lot of money. I've got to invest a lot of money in going to these classes, courses, to the spa to get my nails done. And that's fun, but to me, that's on the superficial side, and the unraveling piece is really the stuff that goes on inside, and touching on what makes you happy. And when you start to, I mean, like, I'm sure that you, for this often, it's like when you start to fill your own bucket, when you start to fill your own self, that's when you're able then to pour out to everyone else a lot more. Otherwise, you're extending yourself, you're giving yourself away. I found myself giving myself away to my kids and my family and house, where I had nothing left, and I was frustrated, angry, resentful, and naturally I pointed to everyone else for that, until that voice said to me, did you ever notice that when you're pointing, there's fingers pointing back at you? And that's when I realized I was choosing to do that for them and not for myself. And I was getting angry. This inner soul was talking, saying, when are you going to take care of us? When are you going to stop giving yourself away to everyone and put yourself first, put us first? And that's when it all just started coming out, like, yes, I need to advocate for my needs. I have needs. I have boundaries. And it's out of love. It's not to push other people away. It's to nurture and tend to myself, so then I can be better for everything and everyone else. And the investment in the self, which does sound selfish, is not. You can twist it around and say it's a win-win. It's a win-win for you as your soul, as your being. It's also a win-win for everyone else outside of yourself, because then you're happier. You're more equipped to handle the highs and the lows and the bumps in the road, because you've taken care of you first, ultimately.
well, that's why I was a proponent for the work that you're doing, because I've always been accused of being selfish, because I always give the example that if you're on a plane, if you don't put that mask on yourself first to get oxygen, you can't help anybody else. And I've been definitely accused of being selfish. Sure. But if I don't take care of myself, I can't take care of anybody else. And so I do hear from women that is a frightening endeavor, to put themselves first. It's almost so fearful that a lot of them even get physically ill. They make themselves physically ill because they're so fearful that they're going to be perceived as selfish and self-centered, maybe self-absorbed. So they're giving to everyone else and not even looking to see, that in fact they do have needs, and forget about even vocalizing them. They don't even want to recognize that they have them. So I find that the work that you're doing is wonderful, because I think that a lot of women will need that push to look inside themselves and to begin to unravel.
Absolutely. Thank you. It's something that is so easy to say, and we see it on Pinterest, we see it on Canva, we see it on Instagram and Facebook, that self-care is so important. But to actually own that, to actually understand and know what that means, is a whole other level. And I really want to encourage women, mothers, anyone, that really to invest in themselves one moment at a time. It's just a matter of, when you feel this whole self-regulation piece, when you feel your body, you feel your heart rate just thumping away, that you take a moment and say, okay, I feel that. And take a few breaths, some deep, meaningful breaths. We forget to even breathe. And that, to me, is self-care. Just that, because you're being aware of your body, you are respecting it, you're honoring and tending to it. It didn't cost you any money, and it didn't take you a lot of time. For 60 seconds of just taking some breathing breaks. And the essential pieces of life are just missed because we are pressured to be so much, to do so much. Being busy means you're important. And I have just felt and known so much more that doing less and being more, you get so much more accomplished. So much more accomplished.
It's true. I know I'm guilty of that myself, because there are doers and there are beers, and sometimes you forget to say that it's okay to be. You don't have to do all the time.
Yeah. And I mean, I will be completely honest. I have to remind myself daily of that. I mean, I can fall into that hole of busy work. I've got to be busy. But I'm grateful for having practiced the muscle of awareness, where I can catch myself in those moments and say, what's going on here? Am I avoiding something? Am I trying to fill space? And what is better? Is it better for me to fill the space, or take that moment to myself to just align myself, get back to really what matters, to gain that empowerment instead of giving my power away? So it's a moment to moment thing, even for me. But the more that you practice, the quicker it gets there, and the stronger your muscles get in the way of awareness, taking care of yourself, and valuing who you are. Our worth and our value has gone down the toilet, really, because we don't value ourselves. We place value on things that, how big is my house? How expensive is my car? What is, again, outside, instead of just here.
Now, let me ask you, how are you working with people? I think you're in British Columbia, correct?
Yes. Yeah. I'm in Canada. Yeah.
And are you working with people one-on-one? Are you doing groups? Are you doing virtual and in person? How's everything going with that?
Everything is going really, really well. It's a lot of the one-on-one, because I find that people do need to have just someone to listen, and someone who understands. And that is what I'm here for. And just doing that, the shift in perspective and the shift in doing less and being more has really improved for a lot of people. Doing group, work, especially online, has been great for this whole COVID fiasco that we've had. And of course, just doing those daily Instagram posts and putting that energy out there. I really believe that we are energy, and our voice, what we write, how we feel, is put out there. And so whatever I can do just to instill that shift in perspective of celebrating what is going well, rather than fear mongering and what sucks. No, let's move forward. Let's move forward and not always be in a vicious cycle of fear and what's blocking us. We can transcend that. And that's what I want to be here for everyone.
So then I definitely want to put your information in the comments. Make sure that people know how to get a hold of you.
Yes.
Especially if you're going to put any groups together that people may want, because I know that when you're working with people one-on-one, but sometimes they still need that boost.
For sure.
Even a boost with a group, they may take their time for a period to work one-on-one, but then they always want to be reminded. So they want to have reinforcement. They want to have backup. They want to be around like-minded people that understand them, people that are working towards bettering themselves. So groups help as well.
Groups are great because it really has that opportunity to have a discussion, and also to have people who are examples, who are ready to share their stories, who are ready to open up. And just being an observer and seeing that can really help someone else who is on that cusp of that fear cusp, right? Do I or don't I? Am I ready or not? And our stories really heal each other. They really support each other, and groups are amazing.
Yeah, especially that sometimes people are fearful to go one-on-one, that maybe if they join a group, they hear, hey, I'm not alone. These other people have similar experiences. And
Yes,
then they begin to open up, and then they look for the work. But then later on, one-on-one, they'll continue with
absolutely.
one-on-one work. And
Absolutely.
and I know that we've come through something that none of us would have ever thought that we would come through. So things are now very different, online, hybrid, all of that's going on
Yeah.
nowadays. But the the upside to that, or the good side to that, is that you can work with people all over, because people are not tethered to the location that they're at.
Mm-hmm.
If something resonates with them, of one group or the other, they can actually reach out and be in contact with people really all over the world.
Absolutely. Like there's less of a barrier. There's less of a kind of like an excuse. Well, I can't make it. I can't get there. Well, now we have our phones and our laptops and cameras, that we can engage and be a part of it. And I was really skeptical about doing the online piece, and for myself, even being a part of a group. But I mean, like the power of being with others who are like-minded and who want better, or at least can that we're able to resonate and understand each other, that is powerful. So I am definitely a proponent for the online piece, because I would rather have that than nothing, because nothing really gets you nowhere. By interacting, talking to each other, it still opens up your heart and your mind, and leads to a lot of healing, which is powerful.
It's funny they say that, because I was like you, I was not certain how it would work. And yet I find
Yeah,
that it's exceptionally powerful, and opening up avenues to many people who would have never thought that they could be in contact with others of a like mind.
absolutely.
And I'm finding that it's working very well to get the message across to everyone that we can all live these radiant lives, and we all should live radiant lives, and we all have the
Deserve to.
right to, right? Deserve to,
Yeah,
have the right to. Yes, absolutely. So
yeah.
in that respect, I find that it's a wonderful medium to reach out to the world.
Absolutely. I mean, just you and I, we are a perfect example for us to have met
Mhm.
through this online group. I mean, it's powerful, and it really allows us now just to spread the seed, just to
Mhm.
spread the seed of empowerment and worthiness. And we can do this. You can do this.
Mhm.
Anyone can. And it's a beautiful experience.
Mhm. It's a support system too. It's a support system. It's
Huge.
I find that, because right, I'm in New York, you're in British Columbia. Um, it's a conscious effort to be in
Yes.
contact with those of a like mind. I mean, that's really why I started the channel. I wanted to have everyone that works in the healing arts, and people who have used the healing arts, and people that are looking for the healing arts, to have a forum to make
Mhm.
that connection. I mean, sadly, there's so much hatred and
Yes.
devastation on the planet. Why do we have to dwell on that? Yes, it does exist, but we need to
Totally.
overcome all of that. We need to all work together to really make the entire planet whole, and all of us whole. And so that's why I decided to start the network, and then branch off into the particular show, so that everybody has a voice. And even for those that are out there that are listening and don't even know that they needed to turn somewhere, now they do have a place that they can look to say, wait, I think I heard something that might be of interest to me.
Absolutely. No,
Yeah.
I mean, like, you to put this on is powerful in itself, and the energy with it, like just wanting to share this with others. And it is a conscious effort with all of us, and we mean it. We truly mean it. This is not like a gimmick. That this isn't just a show. This is really here to help others, and to move forward in and doing what is better, instead of dwelling. And
Mhm.
honoring is one thing. We can honor our uncomfortable feelings. I'm not ever saying to push them away. They are there to teach us, to speak to us. And if we ignore it, they're like children who are having a tantrum. They're only going to get louder and more destructive, and until we just listen and hear their messages of what they need and what they want. And ultimately, our inner selves, want love, to be heard, to be tended to, and then we can move forward. And that is what it's all about. It's moving forward better. And that's what we're here for.
Yeah, that's kind of why I decided to call the show, with a tagline that, humanity thriving. We all should be thriving in whatever direct, right? And we all can, and we all should, and in the direction that we want to go. It doesn't have to be the same thriving as your neighbor, as your coworker. It doesn't have to be that way, but we should all be thriving, and we should all be here for each other.
Yeah. Yeah. And just treat ourselves, or treat others how we want to be treated. I want to be respected. I would like to be heard. I would like to be seen, and not to take anything personally. Nothing is personal. So what I say and another person reacts to it, that's coming from them, and that's okay. We don't need to get into a fight like on the Housewives of Beverly Hills that I do watch. I will say I do watch, but it's just very, very interesting always to watch like human nature and what we do, and it never has to go there. We can easily just agree to not agree and carry on.
Exactly. And the world would be a better place if we all
totally would.
If we all behave that way. But I really want to thank you for coming on the show. I think that this is always important to talk about. It's always important to show all these avenues for people who, to whom they can reach out to, where we can go from here. Some that don't even know that they need help, or some that we're not sure, they thought maybe not, but I think that it's definitely conversations to have. It's a wonderful service you're providing. I thank you again for coming to talk to the audience. I know you're very busy. You're a wife, you're a mom. So
again, it's about taking time for me, and this is important. And I really, as much as I want to help others, this also helps and heals me. And so you need to practice what you preach. And this is just an opportunity for me to also practice for myself what I do want and believe. So I am honored to be here and to be offered to be on your show, and just so happy. I'm grateful. Thank you very much.
Again, I thank you. I think it's wonderful. Hopefully we'll be in touch again. I'm sure
we will.
Hopefully we'll be able to work together. I have to come to British Columbia. I've been to Canada, but not that far out. That's way west for us. But
yeah, absolutely. But one day for sure.
Yes. And again, thank you so much, Wendy. I so appreciate it. My audience appreciates it. And hopefully we'll speak again soon.
We will. Thank you so much again.
Bye now.
Bye.